Everyone, and welcome to Adobe Live. We like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land in which we're creating and streaming from today, and pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I am here with the fantastic illustrator and designer Adrianne Walujo. Anne, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me again, Finn. How are you?
I'm really good, thanks. You have to bear with us a little bit. We're dealing with a little bit of a delay today, so I'll probably try not to interrupt Anne while she's going along, because we might be like in a different time zone kind of thing happening. But yeah, we had a great scream on Tuesday. We focused on turning like sketches into vector art using Illustrator, which was super cool. I love getting like a bit of an insight into how you do your sketches and drawing. I even made a note. We don't think in vector points, which I thought was a really cool, idea. We don't necessarily think in vector points, kind of drawing to get those ideas out and everything like that. And we have a lot of fun in store for today, but I'll let Anne kind of chat a little bit more about that. And I can bring your screen up whenever you like as well.
Yeah, sure. So I hope like the internet has been a bit slow, so I hope it's going to go smoothly today. But yeah, I think we can jump into the screen just to show where we left in the Tuesday, and we're going to do today as well. So cool. Last Tuesday we stopped at this, and I think we have agreed to name this character Boo Boo. So I have already renamed.
Yeah, I have Boo Boo down here as well.
That has been changed. So it's a great romantic color. So yeah, for people who just joined today, like today we are continuing on this wish app that you wish exists. I guess the idea is to track your water intake per day, and whenever you'll be like feeding this pocket pets that you have on your mobile app. And we were kind of like working on the illustration mostly on Tuesday, just kind of like to look at I think that's like a very common term, like when you start working on like a concept or like a product, you don't go straight into like prototyping tool, but you go straight artworks just to show the feel that we want to get from there. And today we'll be moving on to Adobe XD, where we'll be creating a really simple view screen interactions. And I will bring that up. So this is what I tried out last night. Just we'll do that from scratch. How do we move something from Illustrator to like XD, and just make it a bit bigger. So idea is that we create like this first screen. There's a home screen, and there's a second home screen when you start logging in your water intake, and then like a message that appears. I love it. That's really simple to use, and I feel like for some illustrators who perhaps you go through like a more digital illustration, you want to work on like app illustration, this kind of like really basic tips and tricks that you can use in Adobe XD can really make your folio look really awesome, because like you have like really cool like prototype. We'll be adding some animation, so it's kind of like feel, and I did a bit of animation in After Effects Director, so it's kind of like doing a side movement, and when you click, there's going to be like the kind of things happen. So we'll do it from scratch. Yeah, Flynn, like, did I miss anything or?
No, that sounds great. As I said, I'll try not to interrupt too much, I think, today, just in case we're at slightly different speeds. But yeah, that's great. It's really exciting, and I think like kind of mentioning that, having a piece or two, even if it's not like, building out a whole website prototype or something and putting it on your portfolio or coding it up and all that sort of stuff is really great, like regardless of what your expertise might be like. And it's very easy to do, which will kind of, I mean, there's important things to learn and to know, and best practices and things like that. But yeah, it's great, like whether you're an illustrator or designer or kind of where you're at, to make something a bit interactive and show that you can kind of build something thinking about usability in a way, can really beef up your portfolio. So, it's a big wide world out there with lots of different things, and showing that you can think for small screens and how your art or your design might might work in that environment, I think is really valuable. So I'm very excited.
Yeah, it's UI UX is one of those really big field right now where everyone wants to learn more about it. And the awesome thing about UI UX, especially for those who are interested, is that there are so many resources out there, and it's one of those fields where you can transfer into whatever background that you have, and what you already know can become valuable to the world of UI UX as well. So if you come from like an illustration background, like you can use UI UX skills to kind of put context of like product or app, digital products. And yeah, let's get started. Then this is Adobe XD that I'm using this one. And let's start a new file. I like to work in the cloud, like the cloud system in Adobe, and I'll explain why. After this, just create a new file. So you know it's a cloud file when they have the cloud icon there. It's firstly, it means that you can open your file anywhere and not just in your computer, which I think in the past, like if you forget to bring your work file, you're kind of, yeah, it's quite a bit of a problem. But when you store everything in your like cloud documents, whenever you can log into your Adobe account, like you're able to have access to that, which is really awesome. For the purpose of our mini project today, we'll be working on a mobile app. So when I press A, it means like it's going to the artboard tool, and on the right side you'll be able to see all the different sizes of the screen. And I'll be, since I have iPhone, choosing that. So there you go. It's going to appear there. We'll delete this because we are not today. Another great thing about this software prototyping tool when including XD is that you can actually copy and paste things across. Let's try copy and pasting this whole tree. And remember what you copy and paste over. Yep, it's going to be grouped together in XD. So it's just loading, and you have to resize that. And what's great is that since it's also vector, or at least it responds well to vector, you can still edit some of your work here. So here I can still actually adjust the size of the borders, similar to I have in Illustrator. Again, amazing. So I'm going to just be transferring them over. Arranging it as what we had in our artboard before.
That's great. And I think if I remember to Tuesday's stream, the artboard that you used, you selected from the templates as well. So you know that it's the exact same size. So the iPhone 11, I think it was. So you've done that in Photoshop, and then you've also done exactly the same in XD 11.
So it's like consistent throughout, and you still have the freedom to adjust them as well. So it's great. So now, rather than copying like the block of rectangle for the sky, I will change the color of the canvas or artboard. In here, you go to linear gradient, click on the thing, eyedropper tool, and then
and as we're going along, everyone, if you've got any questions for us while we're here today, feel free to throw your questions in chat or comments. We're keeping an eye on Behance and YouTube as well, so let us know.
Okay, this one. It's like, yeah, it's just copying and pasting over. It's really convenient.
And I'm interested in no chat as well. Like, have you ever tried Adobe XD? Something that I found really interesting about XD, like we actually make a lot of our assets, like social assets, using Adobe XD. We find it really useful to do it. So even though there's no prototyping or anything like that, we actually use it for all of our, well, APAC, for all of our Instagram tiles and stories, even the YouTube tiles and things like that. Of course, we could use Photoshop or InDesign, or we could even use Express. But yeah, we've found using Adobe XD really useful and practical. Just to have a share file as well, like have the whole file on Creative Cloud, and then that way multiple people can access it. So it's always there. So if someone's away or sick or unwell or something needs to be changed kind of quickly, we've found that really useful as opposed to other systems.
And yeah, like I know that people who actually draw, like we like creating illustration in Adobe XD as well because of the nature of the you can do here, like factory illustration. But it's really volatile. Like the collaborative is really cool, as you say just now. So everyone has access and work on it real time. It's like gone are the days when you have to send the improved file over the email, ensuring that you have the right version because you're not sure which one is the latest.
Yeah, that's right. Version control as well. So, and where did you learn, not that we're necessarily doing like user experience here today, we'll touch on it a little bit, but where did you learn that? Did you study like interactive design or something like that?
I took animation so my course was like animation interact media. So we had this one unit basing about this. So like introduction on UI UX, we did interview and all those things, like learning how to create like questions to do product research. And then we did actually at the end like a bit of HTML, CSS. That's like all in one unit and in one semester. So that's kind of like the formal education that I had on that field. And after that, I really like class because I also like design on top of like drawing. Then I did a lot of the things. I think then when I was still in uni, like Adobe XD, I don't think it was as fancy as it is now. So it was learn Adobe XD after uni, and then it was really easy to pick up because like how easily things are set up, like with like you're familiar with the command, the shortcuts, so it's easy to try around. But then like, I learned a lot when I was like doing projects after uni and watching like YouTube video, like tutorials that people post for free. It's really helpful, and I had case studies of good UI UX, like how people think, how people arrive at certain conclusion. I thought it's really cool how you think about all these different things and you apply that into the. So that's first how I learned. I'm trying to read more books just to make sure that I don't miss things that I don't, because I didn't get like formal education on this. So there might be things that I never really think about because I never came upon it. But generally, I would say I self-learn UI UX. So therefore, I'm always learning. So yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And where did you learn stuff? Like, is it about just getting in and playing around with it, like searching like YouTube and things like that? How do I do this? Or what are some examples? Like, how did you find out kind of to teach yourself?
The best way to learn yourself is when you have to create something. So I was working in a startup, and I think the great thing about working out in our company is that you get a chance to try out different things. So I was working more on motion, but then there are also like some tasks that I need to create a prototype. And from there onward, I learned, okay, so I need to create something, like what do I need to create this thing? And from there, like I start to look at tutorials, I start to try out new things. Along the way, obviously, like you learn that, oh, I'm not doing this efficiently, like there are better, like design system and components, like these are the things that is very unique to prototype also. Trial and error and learning on the job is learned. So that's why I'm grateful though, like my job was really, I think that's the great thing about when you just first start, people understand that you're still learning and there are things that you don't know. So they are really chill with you, just learning as well.
Yeah.
The more you work, sometimes like people kind of expect that you should order things, which is quite can be quite stressful, more stressful I think compared to when it started. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It's always good, like kind of when you're at the early stage of your career, that you kind of have a bit of permission to not try to be an expert. You can test things and try things and do new things, see what you like, see what you're passionate about, and yeah, try out. I love these. I love these fluffy clouds.
I think that's like one of the great things about start. Yeah, I love making fluffy clouds. And so like we're almost done creating the environment. Honestly, for me personally, like I'm still learning because like my interest, it's a lot of different things. So sometimes I need more time to get in depth into one thing. But I feel like I know a bit of the different discipline enough so that when I work with people who know the kind of challenges that they may have, like how I can support them. So like the role that I have at work more is like working with people who specialize in all these different things and managing like projects and collaboration between them. So even if I don't know in depth, like I know things that can be occur to them, and it's helpful for me to understand certain terms or when they're encountering problems. The generalist kind of benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. So what would happen if you selected everything and just put it on the canvas all at one go? Would they kind of be all grouped or something like that?
They'll be grouped, and it's hard to arrange them accordingly. And
right. I
feel like just get more freedom to adjust and position things again according to the screen. Because like some of the artwork that I originally created was, this one is like the one that we did on Tuesday, and more proper, like it was iPhone 11 size. This one I was just that looks like a size of a phone, but then like it's not necessarily in the scale of how it's supposed to be. But if you copy everything at once, it will become, if you plan ahead, it's better, so you can separate things there and not having to do them one by one. Okay, so we have this, and then the next that we're going to do is the character. So there are two ways that we can add the character, and like what I envision it to look like is the character to be a bit more alive, even though it's just doing something simple like blinking or slightly bouncing up and down. I use this Lottie Files plugins to insert some animation that we're going to incorporate as part of the whole experience. So this is my storage there, and this is something that I created half an hour ago. So this is I went to After Effects to animate it really quickly, separated the body and the eye because I wanted to just do a quick blinking eye animation in After Effects. And then in After Effects, there's also an extension like multi files where you can render them loaded to the system. So I come here in XD, that is connected. I have it here, so I don't have to save it and then upload it somewhere else. It's actually everything is just in their system. Now I want to insert it to the prototype. So this is our roti. It's here. And let's try and play. So this is a preview. Okay, it's not playing. Let's see. There you go. So now I don't know if you guys can see, but it's like just doing like this that movement and like blinking eye, because that's what I imagine the homepage to look when you open the app. Like you're greeted by this pad that you have. And then let's design the next view screen. We'll need the because this is the button that's going to be test. I'm moving it up because I'm just thinking about if I put the button here, like it's going to obscure the character types. So
I have a question from chat for you when you're ready. Adrianne, do you have any pet, like a cat or a bird? And if yes, do you ever use them as reference?
I don't have a pet, so I guess
So
not.
no.
I have friends who have pets, and it's just, yeah. But yeah, I do have to have pets, and I used to have pets when I was younger. I had a hamster. I've never had bigger than a hamster actually. Like that's the biggest pets I've ever had. Like had fish, turtle, like small turtles, and hamsters. But hamsters were a bit because they're very interesting the way they treat their offspring. I don't know if you know about hamster.
I don't know anything about hamsters.
Behavior.
Tell me.
Okay, so it's scary, but I had these two dwarf hamsters, and they were really cute. I was really excited, and the female one got pregnant, and I was away on holiday, and I think it was supposed to give birth. No, it was supposed to give birth when I was on a trip. So I called on someone who is home, and I asked, "Oh, how's it going?" And yeah, she gave birth, and I was excited. And then like the person on the phone said that, and then she ate her own children.
Oh no, I thought that might have been coming.
Yeah, I was really shocked because like it was like a white dwarf hamster with red eyes. In the beginning was after that story, like after that happened, when I came back, when I look at her, I just couldn't look at her the same way again.
Right.
And
yep.
I honestly forget what happened after that. Either we gave her away or we actually let her go because we were so scared. I was really young, so I can't comprehend what's happening.
Right.
Yeah. There you go. So since then I never really had pets.
Yeah, that's understandable. There we go. Hamster facts.
Yeah. I think she was what happened. I heard like when they're stressed. We should have learned better. Like maybe there are some things that we could help the hamster with. But yeah, you learn. Animals are interesting. How about do you have pets at home?
No pets at the moment.
So are you planning to get one at one point?
No, not anytime soon. Have two small kids, and that's more than enough. I don't need a dog that I need to look after and clean and walk and all that sort of stuff on top of things. And I think my wife, we used to have a cat, but I think I don't think my wife would be keen to have a cat again, just with the smells that you can sometimes get with an indoor cat, and litter boxes and all that sort of stuff. She was a bit over living with a cat for a while. My mum has that cat now.
Yeah, I heard that cat is more self-sustaining way that it doesn't need, like dog is like maintenance, whether like you have to bring for walks, and cats like they train themselves to like they have their litter boxes and they don't need walking. Is that true?
Pretty much. It depends. Like we're in a 1-bedroom apartment, so the litter box gets pretty stinky pretty quick. So you're either cleaning it constantly, or you're letting it get unpleasant, we'll say. So it can be a bit of a drain, but yeah, definitely lower maintenance than say a dog. But in Australia, you're kind of meant to keep cats indoors because they can attack the local animals, especially birds and things like that. So it's a bit of a tricky one. If you had a big enough place and you had an outdoor cat and everything, it pretty much look after itself. You just have to feed it, but sort of not meant to do that.
Wow. Yeah, sorry, my mouse is disconnected, so I'm just trying to connect it back.
Okay.
All right. So just while we're waiting on that, right now what we're doing is creating like the second screen. So where I'm gonna use my trackpad. So in the beginning, like when you have the home page, like you'll have the status bar over here. Let's put that at the top. And you have the button in the middle where you can log in your water intake. So what I'm planning to do is I'm going to lock that up so that now, okay, that's fine. Okay, I'll do that. So what I'm planning to do is for this button, like when you press them, it will increase this bar over here. So if I keep clicking to the shape inside. So this is the reason why I prefer moving things per section, because I have to click. It's like when you have everything at once in one group, like you'll have to keep clicking to get to the element.
Right.
Part, unless I'm doing that not properly. So the water in here is a mask. So this is like really great, and I really like it because like when I move the mask from Illustrator, it keeps the mask also in Adobe XD. So like the real shape is still like really there, and you can move them. So I'm taking this water. If this is like a lab, like as it goes, it will do like a kind of like a water movement, filling up the whole circle. So that's the second screen. Then I press a create an overlay of a box saying things like, okay, let's check my mouse is working now. So the third screen that we're going to create is like an overlay box saying, great job on finishing your water intake per day. And you can just like press OK or something. I haven't thought about like a proper flow, but like if I have to give more thoughts into it, perhaps say, check my for the past week, like how is my water intake doing? But we're building a minimum viable product today.
Right.
Okay, we're back.
Looks like your mouse is connected. The thing popped up. And so MVP, like minimum viable product, for those that don't know, I guess you can use it in anywhere, but like it's pretty popular in terms of like creating like a tech product or like a digital product, where you don't really want to add all the bells and whistles to something. You really want to do the minimum amount you possibly can to test the idea or test the usability, test the product, maybe prototype it and send it to some people, or do some usability testing, because otherwise you might spend too much time perfecting something that actually, you know, the very basic function either people don't want or they don't need, or there's another solution. And so then you have to start from scratch and you kind of wasted all that time. So just in case anyone wasn't aware of what minimum viable product meant, and why you might use it in your practice, now you do.
Yes, and I think it's like even though it's very tech oriented, but I think like, the idea of it's really good. Like when you don't have to add too many variation around it, but still people are excited about the idea or they are willing to work around it, because we do have that. Like sometimes there are things that we just function wise it's there, step wise can be much improved, but then people still use it and people will actually strive to keep using it because they actually find the concept and the function really valuable. So I think like it's good to really test if this is a really good idea, because if like your function is not that good, but then like it's beautifully presented, like it can skew people's feedback. Like you think, oh, it looks good, it looks great because it looks nice. Then like perhaps functionally it's not really good and it needs a lot of improvement. So MVP is a really good starting point for people who are trying out new ideas and new product. And as like what Flynn was saying, like you don't want to be spending and investing so much on it and only to find out that you have to start again from scratch. And it's sad. Like, and it's even harder for you to get feedback when something is too complete because you feel that you have spent so much time thinking and is there a way for me to just fix this, rather than like raising yourself to see that, okay, I have to go back to the drawing board, and MVP allows you to do those things. It's my UI UX.
It's that thinking coming through, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the, I think it's one of the Adobe MAX talk that I did like last year, and I forgot exactly what I said, but then feedback is your friend, and it's one of the things that I learned to really like my fear of criticism, fear of negative feedback or failure in general. I'm learning to be more shameless about just like using ideas, and then I can't guarantee like results, but I think this is a good idea. It's just that balancing between conveying your ideas confidently, saying why it's good, but at the same time you know that it can still flop. So
yeah,
it's a process. Okay, just like stuck in this Yahoo. Okay, congrats on finishing or on reaching your daily order.
And just you mentioned your Adobe MAX session from last year. I was thinking in my head, was that the year before last? But it was last year. So I've just shared a link for that in chat on YouTube and Behance for anyone that's interested. If you haven't checked it out, things I wish I knew as a junior illustrator. It's a great session. That was fun working with you on that.
Yeah, it was really fun as well, for inviting me again. Adobe MAX talk. Like learn a lot as well about presenting and being nice PowerPoints.
We're doing it all again now for the speakers this year. So it's we've just locked in, I think, our final speaker. It's not happening till October, but a lot of it's being created as we speak at the moment. Another big project to work on.
Is it going to be online?
It will, yep. So it'll be the same as previous years. So it's actually hybrid this year. So Adobe is doing an event in LA. It's almost like mini Max. I've been trying to call it, and no one seems to think it's that funny. But I've been calling it mini Max because it's about half the size of pre-pandemic Max. Because pre-pandemic Max was like 10 to 15,000 people or something like that. So it was like a little festival. And then I think this year it's closer to 5,000. That's in LA. So that will be, there's actually like a stage and people will be there and all sorts of stuff like that. But we're also doing everything virtual as well. So a lot of those sessions and what's happening on stage will be live streamed. And we're also creating content in Asia Pacific with people from Southeast Asia and ANZ and things like that. Just the same as we've done in previous years. That'll all be free. It'll all be available. I think the website is live now. I should probably start talking about it, huh?
So it's a good segue here.
Start telling people that it's happening.
But yeah, it's still July though. Plugin. This is like also another cool things about plugin. Is that like the page for like all the speakers, or just kind of save the dates kind of?
No, it's with a whole bunch of the speakers. So speakers get announced as, you know, even very close to the date, but the majority of speakers who are like confirmed and announced will be on the website. It's pretty interesting, like depending on where you're seeing this in the world. If you're in Asia Pacific, you'll probably be sent to the Asia Pacific one, which we're working on, because it's kind of a curated version of the website that will show you people from our region. But you can still catch every other session. It's just it might be on at a very strange time. So like the US, for us, I think, you know, if we tuned in at 9 o'clock, it would be about 4 o'clock in the afternoon for them. So they'll have done a full day. So it's the time zone thing that's always a bit funny. But yeah, there's a bunch of speakers that are announced. There's lots more that will be announced in the coming weeks and maybe even months. But you can check it out. There's lots of good stuff happening this year.
I might check them out after this stream.
So I love this. So it's like a little pop-up that tells you how you're going at your water intake.
I'm going to explain a bit like the design decision. This is actually not proper, because it doesn't make sense to have like a close button here when you already have like this this button that actually closes the pop-up. But I think, again, like if we are to create like a full app and check out like my stats for the week, so you can choose to not do that by just closing it, or you can choose to, so it should actually have two different functions in reality. But I just want to show that the plugins like in XD, where you can just get different kind of icons that are basic. Like I search for the close icon, I can find like home icon. So like these are the things that you usually in your app design, and you can just like take it and then like drag it over to your design. So I'm just like showing it for demonstration rather than saying that, oh, this is like a logical design. Design.
Great. What's the plugin that you have there? Does it have a name? Oops, sorry, I hit my microphone.
So I have icons for design. So the tool that I'm using today is Lottie Files. So that's to put the Lottie animation at the prototype, and then also the icons for design. And there are still so many different. This is like UI faces. Like you can put, like usually when you have avatar, like you want to put faces to those things. So there's so many different things. I haven't explored yet. Really useful thing. So you can start building your app without having to think about, oh, I have to find an icon, or I have to find an illustration and all in the plugin section. Yeah. So now we'll be. Let's try to connect all these things. Put it here. Naming your artwork is perhaps a equivalent of mirrors in Adobe Illustrator. Cloud. So now once we have like the 3 screens, actually, you know what? Let's have one more screen. We'll have this screen, but this time, when you finish your water intake, it will have. Let's connect it with the prototype, because at the moment, if I play the prototype, like it's nothing is, I can't click on anything because I haven't connected anything. So in prototyping, say that okay, so this button, you go to the prototype mode here, and then you see like there's this arrow looking icon. So this says that, okay, for this button, when it's clicked, I want it to go to this screen over here. In a more complex app, like you'll have different buttons and they'll be like going to screens just to show like the globe. But because it's very simple small app, so it's just going, there's only one button and it's going to the next screen. And what we can do here is when you click on check, there is a trigger is tab. There's like, so there's also dragging. I've never tried this one. And there's also voice command. This is also like really cool. So you can actually trigger it by voice command. The type is, in this case, I want to try auto animate because there's a few different things. If it's just transition, like you can choose like a different kind of animation. For instance, like slide left, slide right. So I'll just show it to you guys what that looks like. So if I press it, it will slide. But it doesn't make sense in this case because it's actually the same scene. So what I'm going to do is that I press this again, and then the type is going to be auto animate. Let's play that again. So look at that. My cursor is changing to the hand cursor, showing that it's clickable. And then auto animate, like it will try to fill in a gap between screen A and screen B and animate something in between. It was too fast. So what we can do is we can click on here and we can choose the easing. I'll choose ease in and out. I've actually never tried the other ones.
I mean, ease in and ease out are like classics from After Effects. Are those familiar with After Effects, like easing in and easing out, like pretty much the go-to like standard animation to stop it from being super jarring. So if you're going from point A to point B, you know, the computer wants to do this, but if you tell it to ease, it'll start a little bit slower, speed up, and then slow down. So it's a little bit more realistic, like animation principle.
Yeah. Oh, I just found a really interesting effect just now, like it's called wind up. So it's kind of preparing itself by going down first before it goes up. So I really like that. Actually, I've used that. I had the duration from point 2, point 3, and then and then what happens is this is full. We want it to go to this screen over here, and the trigger is time. So when the trigger is time, it means that it will automatically change to the next screen. The type is going to be overlay. So you'll see when it's an overlay, it means that, let's compare that. If it's just a normal screen, it will change to that screen, meaning that you'll have that box over there, and then you'll have the background. But if it is overlay, it cannot remove because it says that this screen is going to overlay. I like how I'm like moving my hand in front of my monitor, but it cannot be seen. But it means like this.
Trying to point to something on the screen, yeah.
Yeah, it means like the screen over here is going to be on top of them. It's used for pop-ups and things like that. So let's see this time. There you go. Now it's on top of the thing.
Oh, cool.
And when you press high five, you adjust the button, and then it will go to this over here. Make sure that this is not. You can also delete connection to make sure that it's okay. Okay, when you click on that, it's going to this. Okay, congrats.
Cool. That's great.
It keeps. So this should be. So here we want the trigger time, and so usually like imagine like if the bubble it's going to be like for what like. You have to ensure that there's no existing connection because I was copying from this artboard here, so it was mimicking the same movements. So I have to remove oops. I have to remove that. Okay, so now we have kind of like a very simple journey of what it looks like when you track your water intake. You press that. Daily water intake and then high five. Okay, so maybe it's a bit too fast here because. 9 seconds. Okay, now let's make it more fun. We have the basic flow ready. Let's spice it up a bit. One of the things that I was like working on a lot is also UI motion design. So that's like a very specific motion design field where you create animation for UI UX purpose. So sometimes when you like in your app, like there's a tutorial on how to do things, and there's gonna be like some animation showing you how to drag like the screen or how to press button, loading screen on app, those kind of things, those kind of motion that helps to improve the whole journey of the app. Or like when you double tap on someone's post in Instagram, there is that happy confetti animation when you like someone. Like it's just kind of like UI motion helps to give you delight to the user. So those should be, at least in my opinion, those things are and elevate and should be left when you're done with the main journey. If you have like a budget, I mean, like what I'm saying is that it's not something usually you prioritize. Okay,
I'll just let you know we've got about 4 to 5 minutes left, Max. So whatever you were planning, just to let you know.
Okay, we're almost done. So I'm searching. So like in the Lottie files, you can also like try to find different existing free animation. Let's hope that we can find it. Maybe not. Okay, there you go. We find it. Okay, so that's the one. This is that is like the bigger and behind the animation. There's this button called it means like play repeatedly, and then the next thing is complexity. Yeah. Yeah, the internet is not helping. So fast, suddenly it's right. We have the complexity, so you get the context. Like we wanted to. many minutes left do we have, Lynn?
About 3. So we'll see how we go. We'll get in whatever we can.
Okay. Okay, now let's try it. There you go. So it feels like it's telling the user that, oh, you should press here. So you press, and then there is confetti.
Oh, there you go.
And then it's done. Okay, we're done.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, and now the last thing I is lighting. So you have like Adobe XD in your phone. What's really cool is that you can also have preview your cloud prototype on your phone, so you can really test it. I don't know if you can see, but that's the one that we just now.
Oh, cool. So you can send it to your phone so you can actually feel it and prototype it yourself, which is great.
Yeah,
that's excellent. So, we are going to have to.
And you don't actually have to send it in the cloud files. It's automatically.
Yeah, sorry. We are going to have to call it there. Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for watching. That was really great. If you missed part 1 that we did on Tuesday, go and check that out. It's on our YouTube channel. Go and check it out. And thanks again. It was so great hanging out with you this week on Adobe Live.
Thanks, Ben. Great to be here.
Okay. Bye, everyone. Bye.